Welcome to Redbeard and the Den of Tools. RoadShock LED, I still haven't got my paws on that. I want to test them out, but I got a lot of things lined up ahead of it, so unless they're going to send me one, hint, hint, it's going to be a while before I can free up some funds to try those out. We got the Badland winches we talked about, the 42 off-road farm jack for $60. I'm tempted to get one of those. We're, kind of decking out the wife's Jeep with some off-road stuff, and that'd be a nice little thing to pick up. We talked about the triple ball trailer hook mount there, so you can whack all your shin at 3 different locations. Easy access, right? And here we got the Warrior, the Bower, and the Hercules. I like that they're showing it like this now because a lot of people have been kind of confused. They don't quite grasp the concept. It's the Goldilocks thing. One's not, one's too good, one's not good enough, and the other one's just right. Basically, the Warrior is your budget tool, all right? They're going to be your lower discount. They're decent quality. They're good for small DIY projects and just around the house kind of stuff. The Bower is, actually, let's do this. The Hercules is your pro level tool. This is the high end tool for, they're aiming at pro level markets here. This is you can use it all day long. It'll work great. It's rugged. It's built with the best technology, available to that style of tool. And then you've got the Bower, and that's the middle of the road. It's using a lot of the style cues in the design of the Hercules, not quite with as good a components, not bad, not cheap, mind you. Just, like whereas they might use steel where the Herc would use magnesium. So the Bower is like either for somebody who's a low-level pro, doesn't use this tool all the time. Maybe they do other stuff, and this is a secondary tool for them so they can go with something that's less heavy-duty. Or it's for the DIYer who does a lot of stuff. He's a serious DIYer and needs some more serious tools around the house, but doesn't need to step up to the pro level stuff. I'm not saying there's not DIYers who use the Hercules stuff, and I'm not saying there's not pros who use the Bower level stuff. That's the kind of thing. It's in that kind of gray area where it kind of goes back and forth. All right, that said, we've talked about the Impact and the hammer drill. The Hercules is the stuff that I use most times. When I pick up something around the shop, typically it's the Herc. I'll be honest, it's usually that little 1/4-inch hex compact screwdriver down there. I love that thing. I use it all the time. But I'm super excited about that circ saw, let me tell you. And you know what? I got my paws on a lot of these other Hercules accessories. I'm stunned by the quality. They're just awesome. The impact bits, the blades, the hole saw kit. Oh, I got the hole saw kit. I'm a happy bear. Let me tell you what, I did my little happy dance. Oh, I need to do some videos showing that stuff off. Definitely going to see that over the summer. That is a great set. And now Bower. You just cannot go wrong with Bower if you're a DIYer. Even if you're a serious DIYer who does this stuff all the time, it's a great tool set. It really is. The impact driver, the drill driver. Check out Kleingine John's YouTube channel. He's an electrician over on the East Coast. He just got himself a Bower impact driver, and he loves it. It's great, especially for the money. And as I said, for a lot of younger guys getting started, even if you're a pro, this will get you through, it'll get the job done. Unless you're doing seriously stupid hardcore kind of stuff. Like I'm drilling into 8 inches of concrete, 100 holes an hour kind of thing. Well, okay, in that case, maybe you're going to need something more robust. But you're drilling into wood. If you're drilling through sheet metal, there's not one of these prosumer level drills from anybody that won't do that. So the thought that you need to have a $150, $170 drill to do basic stuff like that is kind of ridiculous. And people, I get these drama llamas all the time, like, well, I once heard about a guy who bought a cheap one and it flew apart and killed his children or something. They always come up with these dramatic excuses about why buying cheap tools is going to hurt or kill somebody. And yet I never find any actual, stories of this happen. You think if somebody was making cheap tools and they were exploding, someone died, you'd see it in the news or something. But apparently not. It's always, Somebody, I know a guy who knows a guy. I'm like, yeah, you probably, you got a hot girlfriend that nobody's ever met too, right? She lives in another state or something. Anyway, the bear gets riled up by these folks. All right, we got the 4.5-inch angle grinder for $40. There's the circ saw there, the 6.5-inch circ saw for $44.99. We got the Bauer jigsaw there. Oh, and look at that down in the center. Okay, we'll get to it in a second. We got the compact flashlight. That's the kind where you can sit down on a work surface and angle the light for your work. The 3/8 right angle drill. I have this. I love it. I've found all sorts of uses for that thing. And then next to that, we've got the elusive, allegedly 4-volt 1/4-inch screwdriver kit. Now, we first saw this was in January or February's ad, and we've been waiting for it. And we've been waiting, and we've been waiting, and now it's May. And I'll be honest, some of us were thinking it's not going to happen, that it's not real. Booyah, it's real. Oh, yeah, and it's coming to stores right now. That's what I've heard. That's right. Now, if you're not excited about this, understand this is a lithium-ion rechargeable drill driver. The battery's not removable, okay? The battery is built in. But what you've got there is, it's the kind that is 2-in-1. You look at the little picture down there. You see it rotates and goes into a straight screwdriver versus a pistol grip screwdriver. And then when you don't need it as a screwdriver, you see the base there in the picture on the plastic there. It's kind of hard to tell, but the base is a flashlight. This is the ultimate kitchen drawer tool. That's what this is. You got flashlight, power screwdriver, all in one right there. With lithium, it's going to hold a charge for a good long time. It says $19.99. I've already seen coupons. I think it was for $15 or $16 on it. So I can't wait to get my paws on that. Oh, and look down below that. Quietly, Bauer released their own version. They have a 9-piece bimetal hole saw kit for $35. Not a bad little setup there. Oh, and Bauer. Oh, man, the Bauer line is so big. We got their 1/2-inch heavy-duty right-angle drill. This is akin to the Whole Hog from Milwaukee. I'm not saying it's got as much power. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I'm saying that that's the kind of design it's built for. And I've talked to 2 people who've used this. And both of them said, I'll be honest, both of them said they were as good as the Milwaukees they've used in the past. All right? It's second paw knowledge, but, that it is what it is. All right, the Drill Master 3/8-inch variable speed reversible drill, $19.99. Now, that's a cheap, inexpensive little drill. It's corded, but again, if you're just looking to get started, you just need a tool right now. You don't think you have to go cordless, all right? $20, it's built, heck, the DeWalt one that looks identical catches on fire. They had to recall the dang thing. And you've got a heavy-duty 1/2-inch one there for $55. You got the Warrior one there for, what is that? $21 for the Warrior. Comes with the side handle and the depth gauge and everything. You got the Chicago 1/2-inch variable speed one for $35. These seem like no-brainers, guys. If you're young getting started, all right. Now, hey, you want to see a tool? I'm going to say don't buy that thing. That little Drill Master, I don't know if you can do your nails with that rotary tool. Okay, maybe you can. Probably bogged down on my toe claws there, but still, oh my gosh. I think they were giving those free at one point, and I picked one up, and the bear was woefully disappointed. Now that said, the one below it, the 31-piece variable speed heavy duty set for $22.99, that's not bad. That's not a bad rotary tool. The 9.6 rotary tool below that, it's not great. It's not terrible. And there we've got the cheap basic hole saw kit, 18-piece for $16.99. I've used that. It'll cut a hole. It'll get the job done. It's not terrible. The oscillating multi-tools we talked about, 6-inch grinder. Not a bad grinder. I like the one that's got the gooseneck lamp on it myself. The 4-inch biscuit plate joiner. That's not a bad tool. It's no, Festool Domino, but it's not bad. The Forge vices, they've got a pretty bad reputation. I picked mine up because I needed something right then. I was already at Harbor Freight. I didn't want to make another trip to somewhere else. It was cheap. Mine's held up. I mean, if you don't beat on it terribly, it's a light duty, vise. Just understand that. The drill vise, I've used that. It's not terrible. It's $17. That thing's not bad. The benchtop drill presses. Guys, I think the Harbor Freight drill presses are terribly underrated. I think they get a bad rep by the fact that they're so inexpensive and people. I love. Don't even get me started. So many times I've seen guys. Some guy just posted a comment. I'd never buy Harbor Freight. In fact, I've never bought Harbor Freight, and I won't ever buy it. Well, that's an excuse I didn't take for my kids when they were 3. I don't like it. I don't like it. You've never had it. Anyway, benchtop wood lathe and wood lathe with stand, reversible head. Guys and gals, go hang out in any woodworker forum and you'll see tons of old guys who've had these for years and they're a standby item. They're kind of a clone of the old jet lathes. They're basic, they're simple, and they work great. This is one that even the pros use. Benchtop bandsaw. A lot of people have been asking me recently, hey, Bear, is the Harbor Freight benchtop bandsaw any good? No, it's not. In fact, there is no such thing as a 9-inch benchtop bandsaw that is good. It's not. It just isn't. You know what it's good for? Put a really thin blade on it and use it instead of a scroll saw, if that's what you want. You see the scroll saw down there? It does essentially the same thing. You're not going to get a straight cut with that saw. That said, if you want a curved cut, it'll do it every time. Maybe not going the way you want. All right, I joke. But no, it's just for what you want a bandsaw to use, you need a 14-inch, maybe a good 12-inch, but you probably want a 14-inch. The trim router. I haven't used the trim routers. Sorry, I can't talk about them. Earthquake beats Snap-on. Because you can buy 3 of them for the price of the Snap-on. Anyway, I don't even get me started. You need to check out my 10 reasons that Snap-on sucks. If you think that the Bear is anti-Snap-on, here's the thing. When I'm anti-anything, it's not because, they stole my lunch money. It's because the company did something I don't like. Either they produced a tool that is junk and they won't fix it, or they're overpricing a tool and trying to say it's worth more than it is, or the company is itself trash. And with Snap-on, it's the last two. They're way overpriced tools. There was a time when I was a young cub that, Snap-on was undoubtedly the best you can buy. But the time and technology have changed. People have caught up. They're now getting cheaper and cheaper. They're selling Chinese-made hand tools now at the same price as American-made tools. It's ridiculous. And the company itself is... let me just tell you this. Last week, I spent 2 hours on the phone listening to a woman who's an ex-Snap-on dealer cry her eyes out as she told me about how Snap-on ruined her life by being a dealer with Snap-on. I can tell you story after story after story. If you want to support the company, fine. But don't come to me preaching about how great and moral it is to buy U.S. tools from an American icon of a company. The only thing this company represents about America is the depths that Wall Street will sink to. We talked about the Diablo hoses. I'm a big fan of them. That Diablo right there, hose reel there for $75. That's a great deal. The Merlin stuff. This is the thing I want to talk about before. I'm really impressed with all this Merlin stuff. I'll be honest, the Chicago Pneumatic stuff before, not their finest product. In fact, like the valves and stuff, the pressure regulators were notorious for leaking. I've got a setup in my garage I can't use because it leaks like a sieve. But the Merlin stuff has all been top notch. Everything I've seen from them. The Baxter sanders, they look nice. I've played with them. I mean, in the store kind of stuff. I've held them and looked at them. And the Chief, they look great. I've not had a chance to use them. Compressors, you've seen the Bear talk about compressors. I owe you guys one more video on the Fortress compressor, comparing it against the pro level Chicago Air. But I gotta tell you, there's just, I love those things. And I find myself using it more and more every day. I think, honestly, when the 27-gallon comes out, that's going to be a no-brainer. I'm going to have to get it. That said, the McGraw for the price, $200 on that one. And we're talking about the good, the better, and then the Fortress is the best. Again, it's the Goldilocks principle. It's almost impossible. I hate to say it, it's almost impossible at this point to justify buying the Chicago Pneumatic because the price difference when on sale between the 21-gallon Chicago Pneumatic and the 20-gallon McGraw is like $20. I think the Chicago Pneumatic goes on sale for $150. The McGraw's $170. And for what you get with the McGraw over the Chicago, it's kind of a no-brainer. Basically, it's like this. If you bought the Chicago Pneumatic and it was $150 and somebody said, hey, all those issues about it that you hate, like the valves, the dials, the gauges, and how loud it is, if I could sell you a $20 pack, it would do all that and it would give you an easy access drain valve, would you buy it? You'd be like, I'd buy it just for the drain valve. Yeah, well, that's what they did. For $20, you get all of that and you get a lovely powder blue finish. It looks way better. I know it's silly to say, but it is better. Oh, there's those new sprayers down there. We got the Spectrum stuff. I really want to try those. I don't have a project right now to try them on, but if one of you gets one and uses it, let the bear know. I want to hear about it because they look amazing. Here we got the welders, Chicago Electric. If you're getting started, you want to learn how to weld and stuff, these are a no-brainer. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Anyone telling you that these things aren't going to weld and they're not good enough, they're just being a tool snob. Don't listen to them. Titanium, again, so the good, better, best here is Chicago Electric. The black ones are the good. Titanium's the better. And orange Vulcan is the best. You don't need a Vulcan unless you're a pro. Okay? Even some of the pros can get by with the titanium ones. I know that they do. I've talked to them. I've seen it happen. It's for reals. The bear wouldn't lie to you about it. That said, in most cases, based on duty cycle, which is how often you can run it before how long you have to let it cool down for, the Vulcan's going to be the way you want to go. All right, we got grinders, more good grinders. Boy, you don't think about it, and all of a sudden you turn around and Harbor Freight's like Grinder Central. That said, there was a picture that was floating around the interwebs the other week where somebody was claiming that a Hercules grinder caught on fire and nearly burned down his shop. He said he told the story about how he just went out, just bought this Hercules grinder, and that he left it down, plugged in, went into the shop, went out of the shop into the house, came out, and everything was smoking everywhere, and blah, blah, blah. The picture quickly got taken down when we noted it wasn't a Hercules grinder. Now, it might have been a Harbor Freight. It kind of looked like the one there in the center, the Central, or the Chicago Electric, the blue one there. It kind of looked like that one, but it for sure wasn't a Hercules. You could tell easily by the plastic and the housing and the whole thing. It was just wrong. And it was clearly somebody, trying to start something, get some drama or something going. In fact, even the way it was charred, it was from the outside in, not the inside out. So it didn't look like it was a motor that burned up or something. Not sure what was going on. But I just wanted to address that because I don't know why people decide they want to push this kind of drama, but it's out there. Anyway, that said, we've got the 7-inch heavy duty, this 4.5-inch paddle switch, the 4.5-inch heavy duty, and then, of course, the little Chicago Electric 4.5-inch. That one normally goes on sale for $10. And then above it, we've got the 7-amp 4.5-inch grinder there for $40. Geez, why would you not want to get that? Anyway, and what's that above it? That's an 11-amp grinder. That's competing with DeWalt. Now, for those of you who don't know, in the trades, DeWalt's pretty much considered the standard when it comes to, a bang for your buck kind of grinders. Bosch makes some great grinders, don't get me wrong, but more and more pros were switching from Bosch to DeWalt. I've seen it. And I'm not a DeWalt fan, but I got to sit there and say, when they got a good tool, they got a good tool. Here we got media blasters down here, 25% off all blasting media. That's not the cabinets, that's the media you use in the cabinets. But still, a sale's a sale, right? Hey, I want to take a moment. Harbor Freight Tools for Schools win $1 million. Not for you, but for your school and your program there. That's right. Every year, Harbor Freight's been giving out $1 million to help trade schools, to help teach the future tradespeople of America. And if nothing else, you've got to appreciate the company for that. So we got the bandsaw we talked about before, the chop saws, the metal cutting bandsaws. So this was recently on sale. We talked about it. And I know at least one person went out and picked up that 1 horsepower 4x6 horizontal/vertical bandsaw. That thing is great. If you do serious metal cutting around the shop, these things, they haven't changed the design in probably 20 years. And there's a reason. They're just tried and true. They work. Oh, don't forget, if you want to start doing some metalworking, Harbor Freight sells lathes. 7x10-inch precision benchtop lathe. It's not a fabulous top high-end machinist lathe, but it's a good hobbyist lathe, or even for a small shop to do light duty work. It's not bad. They were talking about the miter saws. Every week or so, somebody chimes in going, "Hey, it's been a while. What do you think of that Hercules saw?" I think it rocks. The thing is great. There's no complaints about it. All right, let's talk about nailers. Good, better, best again. This is where everything is going with Harbor Freight, all right? Everyone's worried that they're going to get out of the cheap tool business. That's not happening. They're just expanding the lineup, and this is what they're doing. Everything's going to have 3 tiers, so now you don't have a choice of just buying the cheap stuff. If you want to get something better, but still at a good value for what it is, they're going to have it for you. And with this, it's the Central Pneumatics versus the Banks versus the Pierce. Pierce. It's a nailer called Pierce. Anyway, I've got the Pierce brad nailer. I've also got the Central Pneumatics nailer. I'll be honest. I was going to say that they do the same thing. That's not exactly true. So the 2-in-1 nailer there, the Central Pneumatic one, it does do the job, and it does it just fine. I've found that the ergonomics on the Banks is way better, but I don't know if you can justify twice the price for that. The one thing, though, is it doesn't leave a big mark on the wood when it sets the nail like the 2-in-1 there does. It does, and I think that's because it's designed to do both staples and brad nails, whereas the Banks is just a brad nailer. All right, we got some more of the Bauer products here I want to talk about real quickly. The Bauer thickness planer. Now, that's not a great price on that. Normally, you'll see a coupon that can take it down as low as $250. And at $250, it is, I think it has to be the default choice if you're going to buy an inexpensive planer. If you want to spend more money, I think, honestly, you need to be spending in the $400 to $500 range to get a planer that's going to be significantly better. I'm not saying you can't get one that's, say, 5% better, but you're going to end up spending, $300 to $400 for that small increment. And to me, that's just not worth it. You're not going to see that. That's the kind of thing of like, you got to look at it at the right angle, and maybe if you squint sideways, you can see that the snipe is a little bit worse on one than the other. And that may just be the way you use it. So, the 2 horsepower, 70-gallon Micron industrial dust collector. So I just want to point this out. I've commented many times that the green one is better than the gray one, and a lot of people kind of took that the wrong way. I should say this. There's nothing wrong with the gray one. I've just noticed the fit and finish and the metal quality on the green one to be a little bit better. But that's just in the sheet metal housing, not in the mechanics itself. They both function identical. All right? So if your store only has the gray one, you'll be fine. It just doesn't have as good a finish to it. Speaking of finish, we got the Bauer finish sander, the belt sander, the random orbital sander, the Bauer random orbital, the Warrior palm detail sander. Now, I'm trying to remember which one I have here. I think it's the palm detail sander is the one I have. Because I've got the DeWalt random orbital sander that I paid way too much money for. I was in a pinch and I was at Ace and I didn't want to go someplace else and wasn't thinking, and I spent too much money on it. That said, that little Warrior sander is great. But again, people ask me, what do you think about this sander versus that sander? I'm a bear when it comes to that. It's just like, it's a sander. Does it sand? Yeah, then it works. We get the ladders. We get the 17-foot task ladder for $139. That's kind of like a copy of the Little Giant. And we get that Franklin ladder for $60. If you're looking for a lightweight fiberglass ladder, that's a nice little ladder. By the way, nothing wrong with the Harbor Freight Little Giant knockoff, but there is a Little Giant ladder at Costco right now for, I think it's $80. So you might want to check that out if you got Costco in your area. That's definitely one of those your mileage may vary kind of things. All right. I held off on this, and I want to talk about the Hallmaster. We got the dollies here, hand trucks, whatever you want to call them, and they have a huge selection of them here. Guys, work smart, not hard. That's why I keep telling you about the lifting tables, getting stuff off the back of your truck. There's so many uses for these kind of things. And I'm a real fan of the one right there in the middle, the 2-in-1 convertible. The handle comes out of that and it turns it into a wheeled dolly. See the one at the end where it says 4-in-1? It's the cheaper version of that. It's a 2-in-1. It doesn't do the slanted one. It just does the flat one. And it's great. We're going to be moving here in a little bit. I'm going to be using it all the time. Armstrong cables. You know, I haven't used those things. I'm addicted to Anchor cables. They are by far the best cables that last the longest. But if you've used both and you like the Armstrongs, let me know. I'd like to hear about it. Hey, down here in the bottom center, we got the 1500 watt steam cleaner kit. I haven't used it, but go check out Atomic Garage. He just did a video on it, and he said this thing was great. He's like, yeah, it's a plastic body and whatnot, but it's $100, and it does a great job. I got to tell you, I just bought like a high-end steam mop, and I think I paid $120 for it or something like that. And I'm kicking myself. I didn't even think about looking at Harbor Freight for one. I wish I'd gotten this thing. It looks great, and plus it's way more versatile than what I got. We got the Braun lamps and the Quantum lights. I gotta tell you, if it says Braun or Quantum on it, at this point, it's just, I gotta say, it's a no-brainer. It really is. All the lights with either of those two name brands on it, I've heard nothing bad from anybody who's used them. Nothing bad. Other than, I did have one complaint about the work surface, the big light bar there for $45. I tried using it indoors in a non-automotive setting, and I could actually see the pattern of the LED lights on the work surface. But again, that's not what it's designed for. It's designed for like underneath a hood or something like that. In that kind of setting, it works just fine. There's those Apache cases I was talking about. We were excited when they just came out with a couple little small ones, and now we got gun cases, and we got luggage style cases, and we got everything from small, medium, and large. Oh, and then we've got the Bunker Hill, ammo box there. Harbor Freight is coming out with so much good storage stuff. I'm still waiting for them to come out with a good pack-out system akin to the T-Lock system from DeWalt or the pack-out system from Milwaukee. All right, let's talk about pliers. So again, we got good, better, best here, and it's kind of mixed up though because they kind of put it all over the place. You got the Pittsburgh Pro stuff, and then you got Quinn, which is definitely a middle-of-the-road set. I just recently picked up the snap ring pliers from Quinn. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with them. I'd been looking at a set from, who was it? From Channel Locks. I'm looking at some Channel Locks. They look pretty decent, but they look kind of pricey. I put them back. I happened to be in Harbor Freight. I saw the Quinns. I'm like, these look good. And I put them to use, and yeah, they're great. They're just, I'm so glad I passed on the Channel Locks. The Icon 8-piece precision snap ring plier set. If you're going to be doing a lot of stuff with snap rings, that's definitely the way to go. But, for your average Joe, I'd get the Quinn ones. Clamps, and more good clamps. I can't say enough about the quick release clamps there in the middle. The C-clamps, well, they're C-clamps. And as far as the ratcheting bar clamps on the other side, pass. Dead blow hammers, I've got one of those. I use it all the time. I'm a big fan of that 4-pound hickory engineer's hammer. It's not a sledgehammer, but it's kind of a sledgehammer. It's for when you want to give something a little bit of persuasion, if you know what I mean. The folding lockback knife down there for $5.99. I love that thing. I can't get enough of that. All right, down the corner, we've got the 18-inch machete and the 8-inch hunting survival knife. I know I've been cracking some jokes about that, saying, you want it, you want it. How many of you actually went out and bought it? Come on, confess. It's confession time. It's good for the soul. Icon. All right, I've got that. I don't know why I bought it. I don't. It was one of those things, where you're like, you don't need it, and you buy it anyway because it's shiny. I bought it, and I used it with taking some tires off on the wife's car. It's nice because it made sure I didn't, scuff up the rims and stuff. And then we see the professional swivel head ratchet, the professional breaker bar, and the professional click type torque wrench. I've got the torque wrench. I say pass on the breaker bar. I have not, as of yet, even seen, much less held in my little paws, the ratchet. I'm looking forward to seeing that. They're going to have to give that one a try. That said, I did play around with the composite ratchet. I really like the feel of it. It feels good. And I have the extending ratchet, the 3/8. It's not a heavy-duty kind of ratchet. And honestly, I don't extend it out that often, but it's a useful little tool. I like it. I know some people think it's silly and whatnot, but it works for me. We got the Quinn socket sets. I know a lot of you guys have used that, and people are pretty happy with it. There's those Quinn screwdrivers. I've been meaning to give those a try. I really have. Let's see here. We talked about the tool sets before. Combination wrench sets. The chisel set. Let's just talk about the chisel set real quick. It's not a great chisel set. It isn't. But if you don't do a lot of stuff and you need to have a chisel around every so often, that's what it's there for. Jacks. Oh, there we got all the jacks, and now all in the pretty colors too. I know a lot of pros who use these things. You see them in a lot of shops. You do. But you know what else you see? You see that 3-ton low-profile jack also. The racing jacks, they're more expensive, but remember, that's an aluminum setup there, made to be lightweight, and it's for a specific use or for the guys who want to have a cool-looking shop or something. And let's see here. Hey, if you need something heavy-duty, don't forget, Harbor Freight has a 20-ton bottle jack. Yeah, it's slow, but for 20 tons, you got an RV or a big truck or something, it'll lift it. All right, we talked about the Daytona dolly there for $109. And yeah, they have that nice little rack so you can put all 4 of them and keep them, in a nice, neat, organized manner around the shop. There's that hydraulic lifting table cart we talked about for $169. That is a great deal. You guys, it's one of those things where if you're not listening to the bear, you're not thinking about it right. There's so many uses for that around the shop, and when you're not using it as a lifting cart, it makes a great side table work cart for laying out your tools on. I use it all the time. I saw somebody recently after the 25% off Easter coupon, they got that gantry crane. Oh, the bear is jealous. So jealous. Hey, I tried out the new shop stool. $80. It's not bad. It might be, how do we say it? Seems a little delicate for larger bears, if you know what I mean. We get the Zurich stuff. That stuff is great, especially for the price. I've got the basic code reader there, and it'll read codes, it'll erase codes, it does all the the basic level stuff. If you're gonna get serious into it, you're gonna want to get some of the better ones. Now, I've heard some pros say they don't care for the Zurich, saying they prefer the Autel over it. I don't know if they did some software updates or whatnot, but in the past month, I've heard from several people saying that they got the Zurich, that they use it every single day, and that they love it. Maybe anybody, new users who've got it, who can weigh in on that. Let me know if they got an update or something. The AIM stuff, I've got the AIM's clamping Ace, the multimeter there. Oh, I love that thing. The thing is just amazing. The stuff it will do, and it's so fast and convenient, and it's well made. I love it. All right, we're back to carts and trucks and stuff. We talked about the 4-drawer. There's the 30-inch tech cart for $100. It's if that's all you need, it's a nice little cart there. The steel carts. I saw somebody recently on Craigslist who'd taken one of these basic steel carts, the one there for $40, and he'd put a backing plate on it of just out of plywood to add some rigidity to it, and used it as a tool bench for a sander, for a bench sander. It looked like it was a decent little setup. I thought it was a smart thing to do. We talked about the Yukon there. It said usually goes on sale for $200. The Windsor design hardwood workbench. I know a lot of you are like, it's not, anyway, whatever you think it is or it isn't. All I can say is I've talked to a ton of guys. I mean, a ton. Everyone who has it loves it. Don't knock it unless you tried it. Don't sit there and say, that thing's a piece of junk because I played around it in the store. When the store, hundreds of people come up and shaking it. No one ever tightens the dang thing up. It's just a display model. Talk to the guys who've used it. They're in the forums and stuff. They all swear by it. By all accounts, it's great. And there's the U.S. General carts. We talked about this, but there's just the pretty colors. Oh, they're so pretty. And then we get to the end, and just to recap here, nothing new, nothing exciting there. Again, those 24-foot outdoor string lights, not bright enough to really, do much more than mood lighting, but for that, they're pretty good. They look pretty nice. I like them. Anyway, there you go. That's your Harbor Freight catalog for May. If you got any question or anything out, comment down below. If you really want to have an in-depth conversation, head over to thedenatools.com, join the forum, and continue the conversation over there. Anyway, until then, guys and gals, that's all the bear has for you. Take care, and as always, shine on.